So today's kind of a big day. I'm pretty excited. Today we're going to finish up the footage that we're filming for this bow review that we're doing on the new Elite Terrain. So the new price point bow from Elite. Love the bow, got nothing but good things to say about it. That's why I want to put out a video explaining to you guys from the perspective of a pro shop, just what we think of this bow. We're going to give you our honest reviews. We're going to show you a couple of tests that we did, and I hope you guys enjoy.
On my way to one of my hunting properties here in Northeast Ohio, mid-rut, feeling good, got activity galore as far as, what people are telling me about today, a lot of midday running, and I'm excited because I'm going to be shooting the new Elite Terrain, which for me is just like a total change of pace because, I own an archery shop. I only shoot the nicest bows for my own personal setups. I've tried getting away with other bows, but I just, it's hard for me to enjoy them. When you shoot the best, it is just hard to go back and have a good experience and be, satisfied with your accuracy. I have had no problems with this terrain. Oh geez, I gotta pass this guy. I like this thing. I'm a big fan of this thing. I got it, and I shot it a lot, and I'm like, hey, I might take this out and, get a taste for, I got a lot of customers who come in, they can't spend flagship money, they don't want to spend flagship money, they want to put it into their target bow, or for some reason, I couldn't understand this, but they want to spend it on something other than archery. I don't know, I'll pray for them. I set it up as a price point build, total build $1,200, which is the cost of a lot of flagships, or cheaper than flagship bows, bare bow. This is going to be the stuff that if you're looking at this bow, these are the accessories I think you should get. So I'm not, I didn't load it up with all my, $1,000 worth of accessories. I put price point stuff on there. And I think it's just stuff that is going to pretty accurately reflect, sorry. Sorry, I just had to pass somebody there. I guess they don't know it's the rut right now. That is going to pretty accurately reflect who is buying this bow, what accessories they're going to want.
So now we're going to take a look at the accessories that I put on this bow that I have been taking out hunting, that I have confidence with. And this is a set of accessories that I believe would be pretty accurate to who would be buying this bow and the price that they would be looking for. So, you can take away some of the nicer accessories if you want to. You can add nicer accessories if you want to. It's all about how you want to build it up. But for me, this is pretty much an average build of what I'd see from a lot of guys. So the first thing that I consider whenever I'm loading up a bow, whenever I'm putting accessories on a bow, is going to be the rest. For me, that's just such a big part of how the bow shoots, how the bow functions, how you're going to tune it, any adjustments you want to make to your arrow builds, anything like that, that all comes from the rest. So I personally like putting a little bit more money into the rest and then saving it in some areas as far as the sight goes. So this is a Hamskea Hybrid Hunter rest. As far as drop away rests go, this is pretty much the bread and butter. This is the workhorse of the drop away rests. I would put this on any bow and have no problem with it. On my target bow, I'll have the Trinity, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be happy going with this bow or with this rest anyway. If you want to save a little bit of money there, that is a $170 rest. So if you want to save 40 bucks there, you can go with the Hamskea Primer, which is a new rest that they just came out with in the past year. Misses out on some functions, so it doesn't have the buffer spring for the limb driven. It doesn't have micro adjust, and it doesn't look quite as nice, but it is still a Hamskea product, and I truly believe in that company. I think they make good stuff, and I've had nothing but good things to say about their drop away rests. So once we've got the rest picked out, then I went to look at the sight. And this is an area where I was like, I think I can save the most money here. So typically the sight that I'm going to be shooting for hunting is going to be a CBE Engage 5-pin slider sight. So that's going to get me out to 60 yards. And then past that, I can use my slider to shoot out to, you know, all the way to 100 if I just want to, like, you know, have fun and practice at those further distances. So this was a big change for me. Now that sight has micro adjust everything. There isn't a thing on there that you can't micro adjust. This sight has no micro adjust. So this is a $60 sight. This is the CBE Tactic. Really cannot recommend going any cheaper than this. I know there's a couple sights out there that are cheaper, but it has a machined aluminum bridge on it. It does have a plastic housing, but you get what you pay for. So this is where I put a $60 sight on there. It's a 3-pin. So right now I'm maxed out at 40 yards, and I put a Viper Charge sight light on there. This is an area where if I were to upgrade something on the bow, it would probably be the sight first. That being said, 40 yards, if you're hunting whitetail in Northeast Ohio, 40 yards is going to be plenty for you. I mean, I've been hunting for 15 years or so. I want to say up until about 4 years ago, every shot that I took in Northeast Ohio on whitetail was 30 yards or less. And you know the way you hunt, you know if you're on a field edge or something like that, you know the distances that you need. But $60 gets you a functional sight, and I'd say that's not a bad buy. But that is the first thing that I would recommend upgrading. So after the sight, I ended up looking at what stabilizer setup I was going to run. So this was one where typically the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a 10-inch bar on there, and I'm going to see how it shoots, because just with a hunting setup, especially in Northeast Ohio where those shots are going to be closer, I don't want to weigh my bow down like crazy. So typically I'm going to start with a 10-inch front bar and then build up. So like if I'm getting a little bit of dip bang, if I'm not holding as steady, if my bow doesn't have as much weight on the lower end, I'll throw a back bar on it. That was something I wasn't going to do with this bow. So I was just going to put a 10-inch on here and just keep adding weight until I shot somewhere where I thought was comfortable. And I ended up pretty much enjoying it. It's a light bow, it's a light build, you know, you don't have that crazy good hold, but this stabilizer manages to add that little bit of point that I need, just so when I drop back, it settles down a little bit quicker. And as I'm panning around in my stand, I'm able to kind of feel where that bow's pointing a little bit more. So I do like this setup for this bow. Target style, if I were to take this bow doing 3D, I would end up probably needing a back bar or something like that. But then you follow the stabilizer down, and I have a wrist sling on here. We were low on all the good colors, so I ended up picking a yellow wrist sling. But this is something that I will not use on my bows unless I'm hunting in a tree stand. I hate wrist slings, I think they get in the way, but if you're taking a shot at a severe angle, and I'm speaking from experience here, good form is to not grip the bow. So if you're taking a severe angled shot and you don't grip the bow, as soon as that shot fires, that bow leaves. You will throw your bow onto the ground, or in my case, you will throw your dad's bow onto the ground and break his sight. So I pretty much always put a wrist sling on any of my tree stand hunting bows from now on. So now that we've taken a look at all of the accessories that I've put on this bow, we're just going to briefly talk about the price. So ignoring my release and arrows, we're talking about everything that's on the bow. Sight, $60, bow, $700, rest, $170, and remember that's where you can cut a lot of cost. Peep sight is going to be $20, quiver, $145, stabilizer, $80. Another area where you can cut a little bit of cost. I wouldn't recommend going here, but you can. Wrist sling, $30, and that comes out to a total of $1,205. Now that is actually cheaper than a lot of flagship bows, just bare bow, that are on the market right now. So this is a fantastic price point to be at. Now, if you were to take off $110 from the rest, going from a hybrid hunter to a whisker biscuit, you're looking at just $1,100 right there. And then you can take off, stabilizer if you want to. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but you could go to a 6-inch cheaper stabilizer, which could be about $45, so that'll save you another $4, so that's about $1,060. And then I have a really expensive quiver on here. I have a $150 quiver, give or take. So if you end up going with like a Trophy Ridge 5-spot a Boning Bruin quiver, a $40 quiver. What, that's going to take another $110 off, so you're going to be about just under $1,000 for this entire build. And for me, this completely blows out of the water any other bow that you can get a full build for at that same price. So really impressive bow from Elite, really price conscious bow, really thrilled that they came out with it this year, and I'm really looking forward to see how it does on the floor. Real quickly, we're just gonna run through the specs of this bow. So we're looking at axle to axle length of 32.5 inches. For me, that's very generous for a price point bow. You don't see a lot of those. Good string angle for the longer draw guys. Also just gonna be a little bit better holding of a bow than those 30-inch price point bows. Next, we have a brace height of 7 inches. And considering that longer brace height, it still puts out decent speed, but what you're going to get by that longer brace height is you're going to get better clearance with your hunting clothes. You're going to get better forgiveness because that arrow is going to leave the string sooner than if it was a lower brace height, giving you, the shooter, less time to screw up the shot. So 7-inch brace height there, that's pretty generous. That's what you'd want to see on a price point bow. You wouldn't want to see, a 6-inch or even, under a 6-inch. So I like the brace height on that one. 2 limb sets that you can get on this. You can get 45 to 60 pounds or 55 to 70. I like the extended range that they have, as Elite would traditionally only offer a 10-pound range. So, you're a beginner, you're getting stronger. 15-pound range is going to give you a lot of room to grow. And then conversely, if you are an experienced shooter and you like shooting your bow at 60 pounds or 70 pounds, but you want to take this thing and you want to shoot 3D with it year round, you can back it off 15 pounds and just have like a really smooth, enjoyable, nice shooting bow. So I do like the increased range that they have on the poundages, and that is somewhat typical of a price point bow. Next, we're going to look at the colors that this comes out with. So, if you know anything about Elite, their fit and finish has always been on point. It's always been very good. It's always kind of stood out from a lot of other bow companies. And this bow is no exception. This bow comes in 4 colors. It comes in Ninja Black, so all black, Mountain Tan, and then Sienna Brown. This would be the Sienna Brown color here. Mountain Tan and Sienna Brown would be 2 new colors that Elite just came out with this year. And then your 4th color would be OD Green. So you have 4 nice flat color options for this bow for just a really clean looking price point setup. And it comes in at an IBO of 325 foot a second, if that matters to you. That's not something that we really consider all that much, especially at the price point level. But we know speed matters to a lot of you guys, especially if you are looking at taking this bow to doing some unknown yardage competitions, stuff like that. So that's a look at the specs, and just looking at it on paper, I'd say we're pretty satisfied with what we got. Oh, sorry, the draw length range. The draw length range is a really cool thing about this bow. It goes from 25.5 to 31.5 inches. So those bigger guys, they don't necessarily have to go right to special ordering or to a flagship bow, spending $1,200 plus just on the bow. This will go to 31.5 inches, and with that longer axle to axle length, you're not going to end up with that severe of a string angle. So very impressive specs on the bow. Nothing crazy, but just really nice to see. Now we're going to take a look at some of the other features of the bow. So for me, when I'm looking at a bow, speed isn't typically one of the first things that I look at. For me, I'm much more, and especially with customers, I'm much more concerned about how well they can shoot the bow and how much they enjoy the grip, the draw cycle, all that stuff. But speed is one of those things that a lot of people out there care about. So take a quick look here. We just shot a couple of different arrows for it, just testing the IBO of the bow and then testing it with a little bit more of a hunting weighted arrow. So here we're going to test the IBO speed of the bow, and our first arrow, it's going to weigh just over 350 grains, and you'll see why, because this bow right there is pulling 71.3 pounds. So with a little bit extra on the arrow and a little bit extra on the poundage, that should equal out pretty well to shooting truly what the IBO speed of this bow is. And now keep in mind, I have a kisser button on my string, and I have a Raptor peep sight, so it's a little bit of a bigger peep sight. 2 things that are not on there when they're testing the IBO of the bow. And first arrow, let's see what she reads. Alright, we're going to take a look at the first arrow here, and this one is going to be 321 foot a second. So just considering the add-ons that I have on the string, for me, that is reaching the manufacturer IBO. Just, with a kisser button on there with a Raptor peep sight, you're going to be losing some foot a second. And I'd say, like, right now, just looking at this, the manufacturer is right on the money with their IBO recommended or suggested speed. Then we're going to take this shot here just to confirm. It's actually a little bit faster. So this bow is like pretty much right at IBO, maybe even just a little bit over. 323 right there. And I ended up having to voice over this section here because of Evan's complete inability to speak without swearing profusely. If you've been in my shop, you probably know what I'm talking about. So now we're going to look at a 490 grain arrow. This would be more representative of a hunting weight arrow. And keep in mind, this is a 30-inch draw. So if you are like me and most of the population, you aren't going to be quite getting that speed with it. But we just left the draw length the same and shot almost a 500 grain arrow just to see what it would put out. And 280 is a fantastic speed from a price point bow. So that's a really cool, that's really good performance. So for more of a fun individual kind of test, I ended up seeing how accurate I could be with this thing at 20 yards, and we're talking about a basic hunting setup. We're not talking about putting long bars on there. We're not even talking about putting a back bar on there. Just basic, what everybody would kind of expect to walk out with if they ended up buying this bow. So I took that and, with a lot of pressure on my shoulders, starting the day off cold, wasn't warmed up. I had to throw a group down. Evan was filming me throw a group down. And as you can see by the video, I screwed up one shot, but this bow has no problem with accuracy. If you're worried about sacrificing accuracy by going to that price point level, I'd think again, because, well, just check out the video. We're just gonna throw them at this target face down here, and hopefully I get it on the first try. Also, ignore my form. This is how I set up my hunting bows. It's kind of weird. I use a kisser button. Like, I just do things that I don't normally do. So here we go, first arrow. Really wish I could tell you that I was aiming at the upper 12 on that one, but the truth is it was just not a good shot. And if you're a hunter, any archer, you understand we all have those. Then the rest of the arrows just seem to find their mark pretty well. I've found that this bow, is just able to shoot as good as I'm shooting. And, if I miss, it's on me. Without all the stabilizer rate, without the back bar and everything like that, I'm not finding it quite as forgiving. But, I made this as a price point hunting setup. I don't have all of the expensive technology, and I don't have all of the weight and the forgiveness that comes with it. So here's just my 5-arrow group, just to kind of show you guys how accurate you can be with this bow. And let's take a look at the group. So aside from my flinch there, that's not looking too bad. So that's our review on the new Elite Terrain. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful in your decision-making process. If you are looking for a new bow, and I just want to thank you for watching the video. It's kind of a new thing for us. We're going to work on our production quality. We're going to work on our video quality. We got a lot of growth to do there, but I'm excited to be starting to put out videos, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think.